There comes a moment in your walk with God where the silence feels heavier than words. It's not rebellion, it's not anger, it's just distance. Not the kind you can explain to others, not the kind that shows on the outside, but inside. You feel it, like you're standing in a place where your prayers echo but never seem to land. You still believe, you still show up, but something feels missing. And maybe you wonder, did I drift too far? You're not the only one who's been there. In fact, some of the strongest believers in Scripture felt the same. David cried out, "Why, Lord, do you stand far off? Why do you hide yourself in times of trouble?" Psalm 10:1. Even Jesus on the cross whispered, my God, why have you forsaken me?" If you've been walking through a season where God feels silent, you're not alone, you're not faithless, you're human. But here's the truth that doesn't change. No matter how distant he feels, God is still with you. His silence is not absence. His quiet is not rejection. Sometimes God allows distance not to push you away, but to draw something deeper out of you. Real hunger, honest faith, a love that clings even when it doesn't feel. It's in this space, the gap between feeling and faith, that intimacy is forged. You learn to trust him not because of emotion, but because of conviction. And maybe that's where you are right now. You don't need to fix the distance today. You just need to be honest in it. God can handle your numbness. He can handle your confusion. He just wants your heart, even if it's tired, even if it's quiet. So stop striving. Don't pretend you're okay. Instead, sit with him. Say what you feel or say nothing at all. Just be there. Because when God feels distant, often that's when he's working most deeply in you. Sometimes we confuse spiritual dryness with spiritual failure, but the silence isn't always a sign you've done something wrong. Think of a teacher during an exam. Quiet, but still in the room, still watching, still caring, still ready to help the moment the test ends. God is not gone. He's present in the silence. He's not punishing you. He's preparing you to hear his voice in a new way, to walk with him, not just in the warmth of feeling, but in the strength of faith. You might be tempted to think, if I could just feel what I used to feel, if I could just get back to that closeness again. But here's the truth. Faith that depends only on feelings is fragile. God is growing something deeper in you, a rootedness that doesn't sway with emotion, a love that chooses him, not just enjoys him, a faith that trusts even when the heavens are still. In these moments, it's easy to turn to distraction, to fill the silence with noise, to numb the ache. But don't. Resist the urge to escape. Sit with it. Stay open. Because what you'll find, often quietly, subtly, is that God's presence hasn't left. It's just waiting to be noticed in a different way. Maybe not in goosebumps, maybe not in loud worship, but in the breath you're still breathing, in the strength that showed up for just one more step, in the comfort you can't explain. That's him. He's not asking for your passion today. He's just asking for your presence. So come just as you are, distant, distracted, discouraged. You don't need a spiritual high to be loved. You don't need to pretend. You are already welcomed. You're already wanted, even in this space, even now. Sometimes distance from God doesn't come from rebellion. It comes from exhaustion, from disappointment, from life simply piling up until your soul feels buried beneath it all. And in that heaviness, it can feel like God has gone quiet, but he hasn't. You may not hear his voice right now, but that doesn't mean he's stopped speaking. You may not feel his presence, but that doesn't mean he's stopped holding you. Sometimes God hides not to punish you, but to awaken you, to call you back to the quiet, to slow your soul down until you notice he's still here. Remember the story of the prodigal son? The moment the son started coming back, even with shame and brokenness in his heart, the father ran. He didn't wait for a full explanation. He didn't demand the right words. He ran. That's the heart of your father now. You may feel unworthy to pray, unsure how to start, but all he needs is the turn, the step, just one breath that says, "I miss you." That's enough. He knows you want to feel him again. He knows you're tired of this spiritual fog. He sees it, and he's not frustrated with you. He's moved with compassion. So don't wait for perfect clarity. Don't wait to have it all figured out. Come to him in the silence, in the slowness, in the uncertainty. Whisper if you have to. Sit in the quiet. Let the ache speak for you, because even when you feel nothing, he's doing something. He's restoring. He's rebuilding. He's reminding your heart of this truth. You are never truly far from God. Not when you belong to him, not when you're his. Sometimes what feels like distance is actually a different kind of closeness, one that doesn't rely on feelings, but on faith. Think about it. The strongest relationships aren't built on constant reassurance. They're built on trust. And that's what God is inviting you into now. Not a surface-level connection based on emotions, but a deeper intimacy that holds even when you feel nothing. You might not realize it, but this season, this silence, is doing something in you. It's making your roots go deeper. It's shifting your faith from "I feel God" to "I trust God." That's not a step backward. That's growth. Remember how trees survive winter. From the outside, it looks like nothing is happening. The branches are bare, the colors are gone. But under the surface, the roots are digging deeper, preparing for spring. That's what God's doing in you. This season may feel barren, but it's not empty. It's not wasted. It's preparation. And when you don't feel him, that's when your faith gets tested. Not to break you, but to refine you, to make it real, anchored, durable. And even if your prayers feel weak, if your worship feels dry, keep showing up. Not because you feel something, but because he is worth everything. This is where the enemy gets nervous, when you praise in the silence, when you stay, even when you don't feel fed, when you worship, not for what you get, but for who he is. You don't need to pretend, you don't need to force it, you just need to be present and trust that he already is. He hasn't moved, he hasn't let go, and when the season shifts, when the silence breaks, when the warmth returns, you'll look back and realize he was never far, he was closer than breath.